Hey guys, it's Danny. I'm back to work, and today's video will be a slow-paced video. We're just gonna look at some orchids that make me happy now. It's not going to be a tutorial. I cannot really focus on them right now, but focusing on my orchids helps me a lot. I've started to collect orchids because I was going through things and they've always helped. So we're gonna start normal schedule, start the healing process with looking at some orchids. And at the end of the video, I will talk about Milo, and it's the last time that I will talk about him. Most of them will be some that have never bloomed for me before, but they're producing buds now, so it's something to look forward to. It's exciting and very, very healing. Alrighty, let's start. First off, I did post a picture of this orchid in the community tab. It is such a surprise for me. Yes, we have a Zygopetalum flower spike, which you can see right here. Now, to give you the full name, this is Zygopetalum barbelhorn hybrid crossed with Paradisanthus micranthus. Now, I'll be honest, when I purchased this orchid, on the website there was a flower, and when I received it, the flower didn't really look like what it was on the website. So to be fully honest, it might just be a little mislabeled. I don't know. The tag is very, very vague. We have something called hybrid there. We're not even sure what it is, but you know what? It's a Zygopetalum. I'll take it. Because if you guys didn't know, I'm not extremely good with Zygopetalums. I have lost 6 at this point, I think, 5, 6 throughout the years. It's just not happening with me in Zygos, but I think I kind of discovered the magical formula, and this one is okay. Root-wise, the benefits of transparent pots. Root-wise, he looks very, very okay as well, so that's really, really encouraging and hopeful. And if you guys didn't know this about Zygopetalums, they do create flower spikes as the new growth matures. It doesn't actually reach maturity until the flowers bloom. I prefer my orchids like this, to be honest. So let me get you in a little closer. Okay, there we are. So as you can see, the flower spike does start from the outer sheaths or outer layers of the new growth, and as it matures, it grows together with it. So the flowers will pretty much open before the new growth will even look like a pseudobulb, and in the end you'll have this type of formation, a flower spike on the outside of the orchid. Since I don't have an extensive experience with Zygopetalums, I'm not sure if everybody does it, but as far as I could see with the Zygopetalums that I had, the flower spike is positioned outside on the outer layers, whereas the Oncidiums typically will have them right next to the pseudobulbs. This is where the new growth usually is produced. Zygos are different. Anyway, long story short, the Zygo is doing fine, you guys, and I'm kind of happy. I hope the curse will be lifted. I'm joking. I obviously messed up a lot with their culture, but I also had bad luck. I had a lot of snails with these guys. It was back in the day when I didn't know how to control them, so that contributed a little bit. Bad luck, inexperience, just messing up in general equals a lot of lost Zygopetalums. But I don't think you should ever give up. If you think you can do better than the previous time, then definitely you should try. If you think you can improve, go ahead and improve it. I don't believe in giving up if you think you can improve. And if I can do it, anybody can do it, trust me. Next up, a really, really big premiere for me. I have a Zygopetalum that is trying to bloom now, and hopefully it will. This is the Cyropetalum, I think it's called nowadays, daisy chain variety purpureus. Now you might know that I already have the Elizabeth and Buckleberry, which is beautiful, links down below. Bulbophyllums are generally really spectacular plants, in my opinion, and they absolutely do not look like a typical orchid. If you think of Phalaenopsis and Cattleyas and stuff, they're different. This one is supposed to have an intense and disturbing aroma as well. This one is supposed to be one of those stinky Bulbophyllums. How bad it will be, I don't know. The flowers are beautiful. It's called daisy chain for a reason. The flowers resemble daisies. Although I did see pictures with them not, let's say, fully loaded, but do Google the flower of this orchid. You can imagine what I am trying to portray to you guys now. It's a rosette, it's yellow, and hopefully it's gonna be a full rosette. I have seen pictures with these guys, let's say half rosettes, which, you know, it's still beautiful, it's still out of the ordinary, but I would love a full rosette. So let me get you in closer to this guy as well. So I think you can see the flower spikes here. We have very, very thin and flimsy flower spikes, so I'm presuming the flowers will not be as big as the Elizabeth and Buckleberry, which were pretty huge. So I'm guessing it's gonna be something like this, maybe, hopefully. We'll see. I'm gonna make a separate video maybe out of it. We'll see how I feel about it. And we do have a few flower spikes. We have these two, we have another one forming here, and I do see another little bud poking through here. And who knows, this is quite a bushy plant. I might actually get a few other. I don't see any other flower spikes, but who knows. I need to pretty much repot this guy soon because he took over the pot. They do that, Bulbophyllums. They just crawl over the pot. So I'll see about another setup. But yeah, we're gonna have a few flowers. It's really awesome. But what I discovered is that they mainly come from old pseudobulbs, not the new ones. These are the new ones. Do you see this one here? It looks very glossy. It still has sheets. It's the new pseudobulb, which is producing a new growth. Yeah, it's doing that at the same time. And there are many other pseudobulbs producing new growth at the moment, which is again why I need to repot pretty fast. So at this moment, the newest growths are producing new growths and the oldest pseudobulbs are producing flowers. Some pseudobulbs I did see, I think they've bloomed in the past, but on the other side. So it's really interesting to see this behavior. It means that in time you can actually have great shows from the older pseudobulbs as well. It's a trait that the Elizabeth and Buckleberry did not display, up until now at least, but this one definitely does. So I cannot wait to see the flowers, and we'll talk more then, but I'm excited to see this one in bloom because daisies are really beautiful to me as a flower. I have a special thing for daisies, to be fully honest. Hopefully it's not gonna smell all that bad, but these guys can actually be very foul. Next up, a Miltonia orchid, which you guys don't know. I think I purchased this one in the past few months, and the past few months have just been hectic for me, so I just didn't find an opportunity to introduce you to my new Miltonia, but it has a it has a story behind it. So this is Miltonia Sandy's Cove, and she does have a flower spike, but it's hidden. I think you can see it here. So this orchid, I purchased it with a new growth developing. It grew, it looks very pretty, and now it's producing a flower spike. Very happy because it all happened in just a few months. This orchid got adjusted to my climate and to everything right away. Look at that reproduction. P.S. I'm in the process of experimenting or actually making a trial with seaweed, and one of the things that I'm experimenting or testing is the ability to boost root production and all of those things that people claim it does. And I'm comparing orchids which are not treated with orchids which are treated, and it's gonna take a while because I want to fully test it, but this is one of the orchids which is not treated. It's in the trial and it's not treated. So we'll see if the treated orchids will beat this. I have others. Anyway, I digress as always. So this orchid, it has been won at an auction on eBay, and the seller is the one from France, which I really like. I think he has beautiful orchids. I love the French post. It's always on point, and I never had long transports with them. I'm not a fan of auctions, but if it's something I really want, I'm gonna go ahead and participate in an auction. So first I saw this orchid last year for auction in his on his channel, or his store actually. So I watched it for 10 days, and when the day came for me to make a bid and the auction to end, I don't know what happened. I was in a place without internet, or internet failed, or it was just one of those things that shouldn't happen, but it happened, and I missed it, and I cannot believe I missed it. I was so disappointed last year. So I sent him a message asking if he will have another one for sale, and he said, yes, no problem, soon enough, I'll have another one. And he never did, until a few months ago when I saw it. And of course, I made sure that I was in a place with good internet. I turned on my cellular data as well, and I made sure that I won this, and I did. So that's the story behind it. It's going to be a beautiful Miltonia. I have a thing with these intergenerics and Miltonias generally, and this one should be a good one. Again, it's one of those really nice sunny colors, so we'll see when it blooms, but I'm happy it got adjusted so incredibly fast. Was not expecting it, but there we have it. Some orchids just do that. Next up, another premiere. This is Laelia Zip, and this orchid was so young when I received it. This is a gift from one of you guys actually, and I got it last year or 2 years ago. I don't entirely remember, but I think it was at the beginning of last year. And it doesn't grow very fast, to be fully honest, but it grew, and look at that. This little growth right here is producing the first flowers of its life. And I do actually have another new growth here. I think this orchid has it has two directions of growth, actually. Now I'm noticing I have another new growth here. So I have two new growths, and this growth actually matured. Oh yeah, I remember. It matured last year and it went through the storm, and can you see? This is hail. We had a hailstorm last year which destroyed quite a few of my orchids. They're recovered, obviously. I didn't completely lose them, but this was one that was affected, and this is hail damage. So this was here last year in August, I think. And it had this sheath all winter long, did not do anything, but now it decided to put up some flowers as it's growing new growth. And it's really exciting because it's a Cattleya type, which looks like a Laelia. It has that star shape that I love. And it's supposed to be reddish, kinda. It has a beautiful flower, so I'm really, really happy about it. So I cannot wait to see it in bloom and show it to you guys as well. And I did have a request from one of you in the comments. I saw it these days. You guys really want me to grow some Rupiculus, I think that's how you pronounce them, Laelias, which are totally different than the Cattleyas. I'm not sure if they're reclassified. They might be Cattleyas now. Everything is a Cattleya now. I don't do that. I don't call them like that. So those Laelias, they are on my wish list. They have been. I just put them off, but I will try to focus a little bit on them as well because they're tiny orchids usually. They don't take up a lot of space. They're cooler growers as far as I know, but they're really, really, really pretty. Great alternative to the big Cattleyas. So I will do that for those of you who asked. And lastly, we're gonna take a look at two Vendacious orchids. I showed you this one before, but I find the buds just beautiful. This is Ascocentrum miniatum, and this is Ascophanetia peaches. So it's a hybrid between an Ascocentrum and a Neophanetia, which, you know, it's something of a premiere for me again, since my Neophanetias refuse to bloom. They just do. I don't know why. I will try my best to do things a little differently, but they just refuse to bloom anyway. At least the hybrids will bloom. So what I wanted to show you, look how pretty the buds are on this orchid. Let me just give you a close-up. You might think, oh no, they're so yellow, it looks like they're gonna blast, but actually this orchid is supposed to be orange in color. So that's why they look like that. And I have a funny suspicion that I'm overdoing it with orange. I overdid it so much, and now everything orange and red is starting to bloom. We're just gonna start to miss pink at this point, but it's okay, it's okay. Too many years of pink all around, I guess. So many orange things will bloom soon enough. But I love the quantity of flower spikes and blooms these little orchids produce. Yes, the blooms are not big, they're quite tiny. Orchids which produce tiny flowers, they make a lot of flowers to compensate, kinda. But I'm a sucker for that. I prefer that, I think. So we have 3 flower spikes on the main growth here, and there's another little keiki there, which has a flower spike as well here in between the leaves. And I do have a few more keikis on this orchid, but they're too tiny to bloom. It's okay. I think it's gonna be a wonderful show when this orchid will bloom. However, the surprise of the show, what am I saying? The surprise of the day is the Ascophanetia peaches, which will have a very Neophanetia-like shape, but it will have this beautiful reddish color, or maybe a little bit magenta, I don't know. They can vary a little bit, they can be quite variable. So I will need to get you in closer at a different angle so you see all of the flower spikes. And P.S. you might see some ants on my orchids. These orchids are coming from the outside. The ants I have here pose no threat to my orchids. They actually just feed on the sugars, and they do me a favor because these sugars, these happy sap droplets, can actually affect flower spikes or leaves or crowns in some cases. So I don't mind the ants. Everything is okay with the ants. I just let them be. Hopefully they're gonna stay on the orchids outside and not come in the house, because in the house we have an issue. These ants bite. Anyway, so, oh, look at that. There's a big ant over there. It's fine. They're my friends outside. They're not my friends in the house. Anyway, so we have a flower spike here, which is the most advanced one, and if we look closely at this growth, we can see another flower spike here in the front. So 2 flower spikes on this growth, but we do have a few more in the back here. We have a flower spike right here. Do you see it? This ant is kind of freaking out, but it's okay. We have another flower spike on this growth here. Do you see it? And if I just look at all of these growths, it's a bushy orchid, I do think I see just little sprouts. Oh, I have another one here. Do you see it? There's another one there. I think it's full of flower spikes. I think it's gonna be full of them, and I love them. I love these types of orchids. Tiny with tiny flowers, but a lot of flowers. And it's really weird why my neophanesias are not moving one finger, but hey, it might be the escocentrum, which is apparently easier for me to bloom than the neophanesia. Who knows? I'll try other stuff with the neophanesias. They're growing great. They look beautiful. They just don't have blooms, but we'll see about that. For now though, I shall really enjoy the blooms of these Vendacious orchids, and especially this one. I'm always excited when I'm gonna see a different shape of an orchid, which I've never seen before. So fingers crossed that nothing will happen to these flower spikes. I'm gonna put these orchids outside because this ant is going nuts right now. She's not comfortable here. Alrighty, so this is where our video will end. I wanted to do a different outro, but decided to keep that private actually. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you're all okay. But if you want to hear Bendy's story and what I had to say, I will link you to an unlisted video down below. You can hear that. I didn't want to put that public. I thought about it. It was the original ending for this video, but I don't wanna make you sad. So I know only a few of you are here until the end, only the subscribers. Check it down below, it's unlisted, you have a link to it. It's just me ending a chapter, and that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you have a great weekend. We're gonna return back to normal, everything will be okay. And you know the drill, dislike this video below, subscribe to my channel for regular orchid videos, tutorials, Q&As, and other fun orchid subjects. And if you'd like to support the channel, do consider visiting the merch store down below in the description. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!